Optics will make or break your career. The right or wrong optics will make or break up your relationship. The right or wrong optics will negatively or positively impact your future, your day-to-day, even yesterday. Back in my day. Back in my day. As you know, welcome back to 40 by Nature. I am Dr. Manhattan. Also, I am Tektron and whatever else you want to call me. I thank you for checking in. I think optics are important, and it's something I've been meaning to touch on for a long time. As a kid coming up, I didn't know anything about optics, so I thought, most of us don't. We just run around, we do what our friends do, we do what's trendy. If we sag our pants, I sag my pants too. That's just what we do, right? If we talk like this and and all, we're a product of whatever we see, a product of our environment, a product of what we've seen work for other people, a product of what we think is cool. But this is 40 plus, right? At a certain point, optics will come into play heavily, and you'll recognize how they have played into your life. Like, it's story time, okay? Where optics with me, and maybe somebody can relate to this, when coming into corporate America, especially coming in corporate America, you try to fit in. So there's this term code switching, right? You code switch as if that's a negative thing. Everybody does it. You do it in everything you do in your life, but somehow code switching has been made into a bad thing. All code switching actually is situational awareness. Okay, you do it all the time. You don't speak to your homeboys outside the same way you go in the house and talk to your mother and father. That's situational awareness. That's respect for your situation. So first and foremost, don't fall into the game of the code switching terminology and allow that to be something that's made into a bad thing. It's not. It's not. We've done it. Everybody does it. Now in corporate America, subconsciously you feel like, you have to acclimate to your environment, which you do. You have to understand where you are and understand how to hit your cues within that environment. Don't get it twisted. Everybody's about, I'm an individual, I'm my authentic self. Yes, you are, until you check in to somebody else's real time. You stay in your real time, but you check into somebody else's real time. Trying to meet someone else's objectives, trying to align with someone else's mission. Time to meet and exceed other people's milestones, then you focus on their real time. And that real time is whatever those cues that you need to hit call for. Don't get it twisted. We're here to talk in real time. No feelings and opinions. Based on what I've seen, 40 by Nature. So, Nature's Own, I have to admit, I felt no problem in code switching or being situationally aware in who I was speaking with, in scenarios I was in. Yeah, if I'm speaking to a customer, yes, I'm going to articulate a lot more because they control our business. They navigate our success. So yes, I'm going to speak very clearly. No jargon, no ebonics, no hood slang, no cool talk. I'm talking to the money. I'm situationally aware. If I'm talking to a people leader or a superior on the scale of their title, their job function within that organization, yes, I'm going to articulate. Yes, I'm going to be very clear in my communication. There's nothing wrong with that. But then you come back to your desk amongst the other individuals who are employees as well and get told what to do as well. And somehow, I used to allow the person sitting in the cubicle next to me that's in the same position as me to dictate how I should have spoken and how I'm reacting. Oh, you code switching. Yo, you talking like the white folks, man. Now, I don't do color over here, because at the end of the day, it don't matter. The only color that matters is green. But in my early phases of my corporate journey, that used to bother me. You come back and your homeboys, the people that perceive to be homeboys, would joke on you. Yo, you trying to sound like, I heard you over there switching your voice up to sound like them people. And that stuff used to affect. And it used to impact me in a real way. Now, I don't know if you've been there before. I'm sure you have. Or if you're there now. But I'm telling you, if you're there now, let it go. Those same people are probably going to be WFR. Those same people will move on. Those same people may still be there, but they're going to still be right there. If you don't understand how to be situationally aware, I don't care how cool you are, you're going to sit right there. And that company will let you sit there for the next 20 years and complete their job functions. But if you want to rise and you want to move with a plan, remain situationally aware and always have a plan within their plan. Always. I had a mentor, still do. But one of the most powerful things he ever told me was, I remember when I approached him and asked him to be a mentor of mine, it was like the first day of training. I was in training. I just got hired on. He came to speak. He came from HR to like speak to everybody about, you know, positive energy and things like that, things to make you successful in your career journey overall. And I remember he looked like an older version of me. I was drawn to how he carried himself. His confidence stood out. So I let him know after it was over. I said, I love how you carry yourself. I would love to follow in your footsteps. I would love if you could be a mentor of mine. That would be great. And I remember I had some other guys kind of hanging in the background, kind of hanging around, a little loud, talking and things like that. And he kept looking over my shoulder. First thing he said, well, first things first, you can't ever worry about what they have to say. And I'm looked at him like, okay, that's not what we're talking about. You know what I'm saying? And then he said, okay, but anyway, what's your name? But that was his opening statement. You can't worry about what they, and he pointed to everybody, has to say or what they feel about where you're going. Situational awareness and optics. Now, let me tell you how this plays into optics, right? Optics are everything. You never know how people are looking at you. You never know when they're looking at you. The first time, I thought that term was overrated. Like, present yourself well the first time, because that's how they're going to remember you. It's very true. I do the same thing. It's a internal bias that I think we all kind of have. The first time I meet you, if you were loud and obnoxious, you're that forever. I don't care if you're nice the next time that I see you or talk to you. I'm just waiting on, even if you're nice the next time, I'm waiting on you to get loud and obnoxious again, because that's how I met you. If the first time I saw you, you were negative and confrontational, you're that forever. I don't care if you're smiling now. You see how that plays? If the first time your significant other comes to you and wants to talk about something that means something to them, something that's on their heart, if they want to address the ways that you're moving or different actions that doesn't sit well with them, or, if your first response, the first time they open up to you, is you raising your voice or you getting defensive, they will shut down, and because they're going to always remember that first time. So no matter whether you're smiling now and you're in their face saying, no, it's okay, you're not bothering me, tell me what's on your heart, tell me how you feel. All they're going to remember is the first time you reacted. And even if you're smiling now, they're just watching the time and letting the time tick down on how much they can get away with saying before you snap again, before you blow a fuse. Optics are everything. And the initial time that people see you, the first time they see you, the first time they interact with you, needs to be a positive experience. I don't care where you are in your moment. It's about hitting your cues and optics. What do I mean by hitting your cues? Now, this may sound like an act, but much of life is Halloween, but not in a bad way. It's you being present, even with others, and when others are in your presence. You being present when others need the positivity of your presence for whatever reason. So, hitting your cue. What do I mean by that? I mean, your wife comes home. Prime example. Your wife comes home, or your girlfriend comes home and says, it was a crazy day today. I just want to take my shoes off. I don't want to do nothing for a minute. It was a day. You don't then say, hey, so Steve called. He want to know if I can go out tonight. You missed your cue. So you already know you're in the doghouse. I'm giving an obvious example, but you get where I'm going, right? Your cue was to say, man, I'm sorry to hear that. What happened? Let's talk about it. Your cue is to immediately, not just in what you say, it's what you do. You go over there, you sit down, you put down what's in your hand, you sit that phone down, you make eye contact. That's your cue. You're in a boardroom, you're in a conference room with your team, and say your people leader says, man, we are behind in these areas and I need some people to step up. We all need to step up in a major way to kind of close the gaps on these things that we've been failing at, so we can win, we can succeed. Your cue is not to look down at your phone. Your cue is not to look at your watch. Your cue is not to look to the person next to you. Your cue is not to sit there silent. The minute after your people leader finishes speaking about that, in that way, your cue is to, my eyes watering, I gotta throw these shades on. Here we go, the sun's coming out. Your cue is to then immediately ask, kindly ask, what do you have in mind? What are some of the things that we can get started on to get to these goals, to meet our milestones? What can I do? What can we do individually? What can we start doing right now to help the team? What can I do to help the team meet this milestone? That's your cue. We can go on and go on forever with different things we can talk about milestones and optics and hitting your cues, but you get where I'm getting. You get where I'm going. You get where I'm going. Meet real time with real time. In relationships, in careers, in everything. Never miss your moment. The first time people see you, they need to remember you positively forever. If this is the last time they're ever gonna see you, that needs to be a positive experience. And I know it sounds like a hard reach, but none of us are 20 years old anymore, where our feelings meant more than our reality or our consequences due to our lack of action in those areas. We're 40 plus. We grown as hell. We grown folks over here. So Nature Zone, what I'm saying is, and I know many of you probably already started doing this, but if you have not, what I'm going to ask you to do, and I'm going to look you in your eyes when I tell you this, what I'm going to ask you to do is do what I had to do, because I was one that always missed my moments. I was selfish. All I cared about was myself. What I say is, for the next week, start with a week. Live present in a moment. When your significant other, when your kids, whoever comes in a room, sit your phone down first. No matter whether they address you or not, no matter whether they're speaking to you or not, or whether they're even paying attention to you, you pay attention to them. Let's spend the next week paying attention. Because it took me, I'm not gonna count to 20, but I'll say 20, boom, that's one thing. But from 20 to 40, it took me 20 years to hold myself accountable and live in real time. To be accountable for my actions. Live in real time, hit your cues. Be focused, sit your phone down, pay attention. If you wanna be there. If you don't, keep doing what you're doing. But if you wanna succeed where you are, if you wanna be better for your kids, be better companion for your person, sit that phone down. Look them in their eyes and be present in that moment that they need you. And that's being present for yourself. Optics will make or break your career, your relationship, your friendship, your family. Hit your cues. 40.